Okay, now let's look at print statements. Print statements are simply used when we would want to display something in our terminal or in our console. In JavaScript is the console, in Python it's the terminal. So in print statements, or rather it's terminal for everything. It's terminal for everything rather, but I don't know. In Python, in JavaScript is console.log, so just forget what I said, it's just gibberish. Okay, so in print statements now, I'll be taking you through print statements, type conversion, which is something we would have touched in data types, but I'll still touch it here, type conversion and reassignment. So let's say we have a character. Now, keep in mind that you can print whatever you like. You can print a character as long as it's a valid data type. You can print a character, you can print a variable, or rather the value of that variable, but let's go over it. Okay, so what if I wanted to display the number 6 in the terminal? What would I do? I would use the print statement. Now, print is a keyword. Okay, print is a keyword. A keyword in Python, it's a keyword and it's a function. Yes, if you can see, it's a function. It's a function defined in the Python, like in the Python library. It's a function defined in the Python library, but it's a keyword here because it has a specific function. So simply put, whatever variable you are creating, you cannot name it print. It's not right. It's not good. Don't try that. So if I wanted to display the number 6 in the terminal, I'll just put print, then into parentheses what I want to print. And if I run this, I get the number 6 in my terminal. The same thing for any data type, so on. So let's say my name, and I run this. Oh, sorry, exactly, this is, thank you for that error. Recall, my name is a string, so I have to put it in quotation mark. Thank you, Python. Thank you. So if I run this, beautiful, I get my name, Toby. It's as simple as that. Now, like I said, you can also print variables. So let's say my name was John. Now, if I were to print my variable name, it wouldn't give me name, it would give me the value of that variable. So simply put, whenever you print a variable, you get the value of that variable, not the variable name. So if I were to run this, I get John. It's as simple as that. And like I said, it works for any data type. So let's say your name variable had 6 inside it, or I've used number 6 way too many times. You had something like 10 inside it, and we ran it, we would get the number 10. It's as simple as that. So when you print a variable, you are not printing the variable itself, you are printing the value of that variable. Now, let's look at type conversion and reassignment briefly. Type conversion is when you want to convert from one data type to another. Now, keep in mind, when you want to do type conversion, you have to satisfy one very key rule. You have to satisfy a key condition or a rule. Yeah, the rule is that the data type you are converting from and the data type you are converting to must have what you are converting in common. That sounds like gibberish. Let's look at the number 6. Okay, let's say you want to convert 6, which normally is an integer. 6 is an integer, and wanted to convert it to string. Now this makes sense. Why? Because 6 is an integer. 6 is a number. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. 6 is part of that. And we can also think of 6 as a string, because all we would need to do to convert it to a string is just put it in quotes. So yes, all we need to do is just wrap it in quotation marks and it's a string magically, right? But let's say we wanted to convert something like Toby, a string Toby. I don't know why I like using my name. I wanted to convert something like a string Toby to an integer. This doesn't make sense. Why? Because Toby exists as a string, right? It's a sequence of characters. It's already in quotes. Not just because it's a sequence of characters, but because not just because it's in quotes, but because it's a sequence of characters. It exists as a string. It exists as a sequence of characters. But Toby, the sequence of characters TOBI, do not exist as numbers. They don't exist as integers, okay? There's no number T, number O, number B, number I, so we cannot convert that to an integer. So there's no integer equivalent of TOBI. So hence we cannot convert it to a string. But let's test out, rather to an integer, but let's test out both cases. So how do we convert? We simply convert from one data type to another by prefixing the data type we want to convert to another data type by the data type we want to convert to. That sounds like a mouthful. Okay, so if we are converting to a string, we just use the string str method, the string method str, then into brackets, or rather I think function keyword, yes, whatever you want to call it, then you pass what you want to convert to a string into parentheses. It's that easy. So if we were to print this, it would still be 6 though. It would still be 6 because it doesn't tell you it's a string or an integer in the terminal, but just know it has been converted. And we would show how to check that. I would show you how to check that now. So let's say let's assign this to a variable. Let's call this string 6. Yes, let's call this string 6. So how do we know the type? Although we know 6 is an integer initially, but now we have converted to a string. So how do we check? We simply check by using the type keyword or the type function. The type function simply tells you the type of a variable. So how do we do that? type, type, then into parentheses what we want to check the type of, which is string 6. Then if we print that to see what it is, let's see what we have. So if we print that, we have class str. That is simply telling us that the class, or rather the type or class, I use interchangeably rather. The type of this variable is a string. So we have successfully converted this 6 to a string and assigned it to a variable. Now, of course, if we try it with Toby, it will give us an error. But let's say this string 6. Bear with me with the naming for a second. Let's say we try to convert TOBI to an integer, right? Now, see what that gives us. Exactly. See what that gives us. It gives us a value error. Invalid literal for int with base 10 TOBI. That simply means the sequence of characters TOBI does not exist as a value within base 10, which is our counting number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It does not exist within base 10. Simply put, it does not exist as an integer. So you cannot convert it from whatever it is now to an integer. It's as simple as that. So you can use type conversion on between various types of data types, so you can actually experiment with that. I think to convert to a boolean would be BOOL, exactly, to convert to a boolean. So you can experiment between them as long as that simple criteria is met. You can experiment between them. Okay, so finally, let's look at reassignment. Now let's look at how to make this code a little bit more succinct. Let's make it shorter, less variables. So let's say we have the same example. We have, at first we had integer 6, right? Integer 6. And then this was 6. This is a variable called integer 6 holding the integer value of 6. Unless we wanted to convert it to a string, but we didn't want to create a whole new variable, right? Or rather, let's say we just had 6. let's say we had 6, which is the number 6. But we wanted to convert it to a string, and we didn't want to create a whole new variable called, let's say, string 6. How do we do that? We do something called reassignment. Now, what is reassignment? Reassignment is simply giving something that has a value another value later on in the code. This is something you can do quite easily in interpreted languages because the interpreter goes through your code line by line, and then let's say in this line it sees this has a value, and then goes to the next line. It now sees that this thing has a different value. That means you have reassigned it, and you can say, oh wow, okay, now it has this value. That's what happens with the interpreter. So how would that look like in practice? We'll just say 6 is equal to 6, and then we'll say this might get a little bit confusing. So 6 is equal to, let's say, string, since we're converting into a string SIX. Okay, so let's just look through this. Let's run through this. So 6, our variable, has a value of an integer 6 first, but then we are still using, rather than creating a new variable, we're still using the variable 6, but we're telling the interpreter, okay, once you get to this line, this variable 6, which is still the same variable 6 here, is just equal to the string version of the 6 you had earlier, because once you finished running this line, once the interpreter went through this line, it had the variable 6 as an integer 6. Now coming into this line, it says whatever variable is here, or rather this 6 variable, which is the same as the earlier one, is now a string version of what you already have or what you ran earlier, which is this integer version. So you have successfully you have successfully converted it, and you have done what we call reassignment. We are giving the same variable a different value. So let's check if what we said actually worked. Let's look at the type of 6 initially. Let's look at the type of 6 initially, then let's look at it after we did the conversion. Okay, so if we run this, what do we have? Okay, sorry, this is supposed to be in print statements. It's supposed to be in print statements to see what we are doing. So we wrap these in print statements to see it in the console, or rather the terminal, whatever you want to call it. So if we print this, what do we have? Beautiful. So the first instance of the print statement, what did it give us? If you look at it, it gave us class int. Okay, that means this 6 was an integer. But the second instance, what did it give us? It gave us class string. Okay, that means this current 6 right here, this 6 has been reassigned and type converted to a string with the same variable name. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's basically just an overview of everything you need to get started with Python. Simple data types in Python, variables and assignments, print statements, type conversion, and reassignments in Python. In the next class, we'll be looking at the data types individually, and don't worry, I'll leave it to the next class. Thank you for giving me your attention, your time, and have a lovely day.